Hey everyone, so in this screencast I'm going to show off the power-up system in our game. So the power-up is a bit interesting because we are using multiple image target. So what that means is you have your usual image target that will spawn on the arena and the bots, and then you can play around the game on that. But it also presets that this specific image of King, Queen, and Joker. You will see them later. Joker card from the usual playing cards will spawn in, will serve as a, it will, it will render in a quad or like a video that will serve as a power up if you tap the button on those cards. So now, obviously, um, playing cards are not standardized. They are not generalized. Like they have different design. Wherever you buy them, it's really hard to get the one that I have the same king as the other guy that buys in the different shop or something. It's really hard. But what we can do is instead of using king, queen, and joker card is to make our own custom play game. So for example, we release a playing game for power ups. We release a playing game for um, the tree of the power ups that people can get with the game, or like get on the toy stop or something like that. So it's integrating something physical into the space of virtual while still able to play them like a normal board games or like strategy games. So in the screencast, I'm just going to quickly show what the multiple MS circuit look like, and um, probably it's a bit difficult to show how its power up works in just one setting, but I will link you a video on each of the power ups, what it will do, and then a good explanation of that video as well, so don't worry about that. And then, so this screencast will be more focused on how the back end says, how I created the power ups on the script, and then how maybe slightly point out which one is the power ups in the game scene. Now, I will have another video screencast talking about how to set up the multiple image target itself, because that would be an interesting topic to discuss as my role as AR, lead AR integration. It's another aspect of AR that is really interesting. Now, enough talking. Let's just start with the demo. So right now I have that. Oh, so those are the usual image target, and then these three playing cards will serve as my power-ups. So you can see there, you can render them at the same time. Maybe right, yeah, same time uh, with the image target as well, or like just three of them at the same time as well. There's no really restriction where you can set them up. I will talk that in the separate screencast. But basically, on how to activate them is just to click each of these button on button of the power up. So if for this one, it will stop the timer. So you can see my timer is like 4 minutes. Now if I click that, it will stop my timer for 10 seconds exactly. And then this one will activate double damage, so your all of your bot will have double damage, but I cannot practice that right now. And then the last one is randomized, so you can get any of the two of it, or you can get something which is kind of, I don't know whether it's a bad or a good power up. So basically, it will swap the position. So it will swap the position of your troop and tank. So for example, if your troop is over here, your tank over here, and then you get that swap position by random, your tank is gonna be over here, and your troop is gonna be over there. Now, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's not also necessarily a good thing in terms of strategy. But it's nice that there's a random aspect of the game. If I activate that, oh, I just got the time stop. So that is something. So you won't guarantee always to get swap position. So player will be thinking twice to strategize behind using the randomized power ups. So that is a very quick brief overview on what the power ups looks like on the game. Obviously, if you want a detail on how each power-ups look like. I will link them later on the Mahara section on respectively. So now we can focus on the background. So you go to the scene, the master scene. You can see. So I have these objects: a power-up, random, and time. So basically, this is our type of image target. And inside of the image target, I just have a canvas that will render a power button, which just will create the button that we can tap, and then the image that I want to render on top of whatever I scan. So the same thing with random, because a random is just an image. This is an image, and that is an image. Now, this is slightly different. So it's a quad instead of just an image. But inside the quad, I attach a video player. Basically, it will play the clock broke thing over and over again, which is something we can do with the image target. Now that is the setup on the scene. Now what we can now we can go to the script now, checking how each of the power-ups is handled. Now, so uh, so in order to assign these power-ups into these buttons here, see it's empty because the function that we want to attach uh, to these buttons are currently at this moment in time is not in the game yet because we're spawning the player later on when they connected to the game. So in order to do that, I have to do called the assign button event. So basically, this double damage time stop and random power up is just a button, and then I have to assign those using the script, and then it just basically says if it's the player turn, and then if the double damage is not used. So this is to check if it's on my turn or if did I already use that um, power ups. Player can use the double damage and then set that. Okay, I already used that. So the same thing with stop time, the same thing with random power ups. Now those functions are on the player controller. Here you can see double damage is just setting all of the bot controller to be have activated a method called double damage, and then this double damage is just setting the boolean true, and then in the attacking section, so when the double damage is true, just double it twice and then set that into false. So that could only happen once. Now let's go back to player controller and then stop time. The subs time we can set the clock state into false, and then this is required upon RPC because we don't want only one clock is ticking. So basically these are on chess controller and sorry, player controller set clock state here. So basically the set clock state is telling you, okay, I want to stop the clock or I want to continue the clock. So in this, when you click the thing, you click the button, it's okay, set the clock state into false, hence in the chess clock controller, this will not get called, so the clock will not be updated, it's just going to be stopped. But when after 10 seconds, so this is start the times time stop, so it will stop the thing until 10 seconds, and then after 10 seconds it will set the clock state back into true, and then hence the timer can go as usual. Now the last one is swap. Oh well, the last one is random power-ups. So random power-ups basically have a count how many power-ups in it, and then I have an enum class here called power-up, and then basically have double damage, stop time, stop position, and random. I said random always be the last one. So um, this power-up count, if you add more power-ups later on in the game, um, it will always be correct. And then basically I create a random number between 0 and the highest number, and then make that choice into a case switch. Basically, if you get a double damage, you able to use double damage again. If you get the stop time, you can use the stop time again. And then the last one, you can create swap position, which is basically get through all of the child on the in the game, and then just swap each other. So child one and child zero, which is troop and the tank, you can swap them uh, under each other. Now that's how the power ups works in the background. As I said, I will talk about how to set up the multiple image target. It's not too complicated, but there's just some things that is interesting to talk about. And so basically that is it for power ups. So I hope you enjoy. Thank you.